You may well be a seasoned hearing aid pro, or perhaps you're brand new to the world of hearing aids. Either way, by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to use every feature built into your new Jabra Enhance Pro 30 hearing aids. Oh, nearly dropped that then. Now, this is the first time I'm making a quick user guide video of this type for a Costco hearing aid. And if you guys think it's helpful, could you please do me a massive favor and write yes in the comments, and I'll continue to make these videos for any new tech that's released. If, on the other hand, you think it's a waste of time, write no, and I'll move on with my life. So I think the best place for us to start today is with the orientation of these hearing aids, so the physical side of things. So here's the unit that sits behind your ear, which contains the brains of your hearing aid. These two openings are the microphone ports allowing sound in, with one facing forwards and the other backwards, which is all in order to help you to hear what's in front of you versus reducing the sound that's coming from other directions. Now, it's important to ensure that they're always kept clean, and I'll go into more detail on maintenance later in today's video. This here is a push button, which is a soft key and can be programmed to do a range of different things, from changing the programs to adjusting the volume, starting or stopping streaming, or even toggling flight mode on and off. Its functions need to be set with your audiologist in clinic, so I'd recommend discussing your needs with them so that the settings can be fully tailored to you. As far as the default settings go, it's worth you knowing that a short press of the left hearing aid will turn both hearing aids down, and a short press of the right hearing aids will turn both of your hearing aids up. And when I say both hearing aids, I mean that you can press either your left or your right hearing aid and it will wirelessly adjust the volume on the other side too. As well as that, if you hold down the bottom button for 5 seconds, this will turn off your hearing aid completely, and then repeat this process to turn it back on again. It's worth noting that this needs to be done separately for each of your hearing aids. In the center here, you'll see an LED which indicates the charging status of your hearing aid, and I'll run through charging with you in a little bit more detail later. Turning them over, on the inside you'll notice a colored marker for each of your ears, with the blue marker being for your left hearing aid and the red marker for your right hearing aid. If we keep traveling around here, we have the speaker wire, which is technically known as the receiver wire. And this has the receiver built onto the end of it, which generates the sound coming out of your hearing aid. You may have a tulip dome, closed dome, open dome, or power dome, or even, in fact, a custom ear mold on the end of your hearing aid, depending on your hearing loss. I've dedicated an entire video on the importance of ear molds on the end of your hearing aid, which I would definitely recommend that you check out after today's video, as from the comments in my other videos, it's something that's often overlooked in Costco hearing aids. And then finally, this little curved plastic piece here. This is the sports lock. It keeps your hearing aid secure if you're running, dancing, or just living your best life. If yours doesn't have one, I would definitely ask your audiologist to add it. Again, I have a whole video dedicated to the importance of this. So that's the physical side of things covered now. Let's take a look at the charger. Before you wear your hearing aids for the first time, you'll want to charge them for around 3 hours, which is the length of time that you'll need to fully charge them every single night. In all honesty, your audiologist should have charged them, or your hearing care provider should have charged them before they fitted you with them, and so they should last for a full day on your first day of use. When you get home for the first time and look at the charger, you'll notice that there's a blue marker for the left side and a red marker for the right hand side, so that you can drop them in the appropriate position. And you'll want the receivers sitting in this little well in the center. You'll see a green flashing light when your hearing aid is charging, which will turn solid green when it's fully charged. I'm often asked about overcharging the rechargeable batteries, and you'll be pleased to know that you can leave them in the charger overnight without causing damage to the hearing aids. Jabra reassure me that there's clever circuitry in place to stop them from overcharging, and they will automatically stop when they're full. If you have the premium charger, which I think comes as standard in Costco, it means that the charger itself contains a lithium-ion rechargeable battery too, making it portable. And Jabra advertised that you'll have about 3 extra days of charge without needing to have them plugged into the mains. I have, however, had reports of some patients reporting that they get up to 5 days of charge out of them. So that means that you can go camping or anywhere without access to power and you'll still have functioning hearing aids. Pretty good, pretty neat. With each charge, the rechargeable lithium-ion batteries will give you roughly 24 hours of use on a full charge, or a little less if you're a big streamer. When the battery runs low, you'll hear a melody every 15 minutes and your volume will then start to dip. At that point, it's time for the charger. If you're streaming a lot of music or phone calls, expect that alert to come a little bit sooner. It's completely normal and to be expected, but it should still, or they should still, last for a full day's worth of use. As with most rechargeable hearing aids, turning these things on and off could not be easier. When you place them in the charger, they will automatically turn off, and when you remove them from the charger, they will automatically turn on. However, if you're away from your charger, so maybe you're going swimming, for example, and you've forgotten to take it with you, you can do it manually too. So just press and hold the push button for 5 seconds to turn them off, and then another 5 seconds to turn them back on again. You'll notice on the back that you'll see a green blink when they're powering on and 3 green blinks when they're powering off. And if you've inserted them fast enough into your ears, you'll also hear the Jabra startup melody. And that's your cue that you're ready to rock and roll. As I covered earlier, Jabra's push button is multifunctional and can have various functions depending on how you agree it should be set with your audiologist. So it's worth having a discussion with them and they'll talk through all the options available. However, so you know what you can choose from, you can have it so that it turns your hearing aids on and off, adjusts volume, or changes programs. Alternatively, you can have it set to do nothing whatsoever. So as I mentioned earlier, I'd recommend discussing this with your audiologist and they'll run through all of the details. In terms of program options, there are plenty to be able to choose from, such as all around for everyday listening, hearing in noise for restaurants or busy places, music, which is tuned for clarity and dynamics, outdoor, which reduces wind noise, and then acoustic phone, which is optimized for landline telephone use. To switch programs, it could not be more simple. So press the button once for around about a second and you'll hear a beep confirming the change. It's 1 beep for program 1, 2 beeps for program 2, and such and so forth. Alternatively, to adjust the volume control, a short, sharp press of the right button will turn your right, or no it won't, it will turn both of your hearing aids up, and then a short, sharp press of the left button will turn both of your hearing aids down. If you only got one hearing aid, you'll need to use the Jabra Enhance Pro app or a remote control accessory to adjust those volume settings. Here's something that I guarantee most of you watching this video will not know. The Jabra Enhance Pro 30s have a secret tap control function. So if your phone is ringing, double tap the top of your ear or the hearing aid itself and that will answer the call. Or if it's someone that you don't want to speak to, then hold down that push button for 2 seconds and it will decline the call. And then finally, if you're on a call and want to end it, it's a quick single press of the push button and that will hang up. There's no point in trying this though unless your hearing aids are paired to your phone. So let's run through that next. So pairing your hearing aid with your smartphone opens up 3 epic features for your hearing aids. Firstly, you can use the Jabra Enhance Pro app on both iOS and Android devices, and this allows you to adjust your hearing aid settings. You can check your battery status, update your firmware, and you can even use the Find My Hearing Aids feature if you happen to have lost one of your hearing aids. Secondly, the Bluetooth pairing allows you to stream the radio, music, podcasts, and phone calls directly to your hearing aids, which takes into account your hearing loss too. And for me, this is a must. And when you've tried it, you'll realize how incredible it is. I do, however, have a handful of patients that are not interested in these features, so it isn't essential for the functioning of your hearing aids. And then finally, there is also a game-changing feature called Assist, which allows your audiologist to adjust your hearing aids remotely without you needing to visit the clinic, and then Live Assist for live video support sessions. Pretty smart. If you're interested in going through the pairing process, I'll add a link in the description to today's video. Now, if you're safety conscious and want to make sure your hearing aids are in flight mode when you're heading on your holidays, then I would follow these few steps. Firstly, switch off your hearing aids by pressing and holding the button for 5 seconds. Next, press the push button for another 9 seconds. Your hearing aids will double flash 4 times. If you're wearing them at the time, you'll hear double tones for about 10 seconds, meaning your hearing aid is now in flight mode. To exit the flight mode, simply switch off your hearing aids and then on again using one of the methods that I explained earlier. Now, all hearing aids have an element of cleaning involved due to the hostile, waxy, miserable environment they live in. And there are 3 main parts that you need to keep an eye on. I recommend to my patients on a daily basis to always give them a quick check, which involves wiping your hearing aids with a lint-free cloth or a tissue, especially if you notice a buildup of wax on them. Secondly, if you notice the sound getting a bit more muffled, it may well be time to change the wax filters. I recommend doing this roughly once every 4 to 6 weeks routinely to ensure that your hearing aid is always performing optimally. To do so, first of all, remove the silicone tip, then use the tool to remove the old filter and then insert the replacement. Finally, place the silicone tip back on the end by gently pushing it back into position. The last thing that I would always recommend doing to keep your hearing aids working well is to clean the microphone ports. The best thing to do is to use the small brush provided and periodically brush over these microphones if you can see a buildup of debris. So that should get you started with your brand new Jabra Enhance Pro 30s. But I wouldn't stop doing your research here though, as there are a ton of features that I haven't covered today which you'll find in this video.